Wii Wonders!
Welcome, wonderful watchers, to Wii Wonders, a Wii game review series by me, Souldin of the Grin brothers. This episode will cover the Wii game Gottlieb Pinball Classics, a pinball game developed by Farsight Studios and published by System Free Software. Let's begin playing then. It's Waggle time!
Story time!
Perhaps it would be best to call this section of the review History, because there is little in the way of narrative plot to the Gottlieb Pinball Classics, which on some systems and regions is known as Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection. The game's setting is that of an arcade, specifically one dedicated to the pinball tables made by real-world company Gottlieb, with each table being accompanied by a brief history lesson on it, as well as a flyer.
Black Hole, 1981. This was the first table to feature the revolutionary lower reversed playing surface. However, its biggest claim to fame is that it was the first accepted table that cost 50 cents to play, which quickly made it the highest earning pin game in the history of the industry.
The history to these that they include in this game is quite fascinating.
So if there is a story to this game, it would be the story of Gottlieb itself, a pinball making company set up all the way back in 1927. They were famous for their electromechanical pinball machines, which didn't have any computer chips in, such as their first successful coin-operated machine, Baffleball, and were the first to include flippers in pinball machines with their 1947 table, Humpty Dumpty. They were even involved in video games, and not just through their licensed tables, such as their Super Mario Bros. Pinball machine, but also through developing games such as the iconic Hubert. Unfortunately, Gottlieb struggled with advancing technologies and closed down in 1996. Fortunately, many of their most famous, successful and unique pinball machines have been preserved with games such as this, which even include historical insight into the company through factory tour photos.
Instruction time!
The controls of this game are very simple and uses both the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, with multiplayer giving the option to use one pair of a Wii Remote and Nunchuck for everyone, or a pair per person. The Z button and B button function as the left and right flippers on the pinball table respectively, and along with pulling down on the control stick to control the table's spring and launch the pinball, these all feel like natural positions for these controls. Less natural, or rather less convenient, is the game's allocation of camera controls to the 1 and 2 buttons. These buttons allow for swift, snappy shifting of the camera angle in the midst of a play session, but their lower positions ensures using them whilst maintaining a finger on the flipper triggering B button is tricky. The plus button turns on and off the HUD, whilst the minus button pauses the game, but other higher placed buttons such as the C button, A button and the D-pad serve no purpose on the pinball table. Of course, the A button has its uses for menu navigation, but it would have been logical for these higher buttons or D-pad to also change the camera. Perhaps this digit stretching camera control placement was done for the purpose of a tricky bit of challenge, as is seemingly the case with the game's motion controls. By moving the nunchuck or the Wii Remote, you'll nudge the whole pinball table left or right respectively. This is known as tilting, and is more often than not detrimental. So in a peculiar case, you end up not wanting to move the Wii Remote or Nunchuck in your hands, which can be difficult to prevent when you start feeling excited or frustrated. This reflects real pinball tables with a ton of accuracy, as you wouldn't want to nudge them too much either for fear of damaging them. And those are all the controls you need to know, with this simple and natural control scheme corresponding to each of the myriad of pinball tables.
Action time!
Gottlieb Pinball Classics is a pinball game where you play, well, pinball. You can read the flyers that were used to sell the tables, get your fortune told by Souldin and his crystal ball, and test your love with the love meter, but otherwise the game is a simple pinball simulating experience. To be fair, there is a handful of modes to experience the pinball tables differently, as well as unique bonus goals to strive for per table, and it would also be a great discredit to not point out the uniqueness per table. Genie and Ace High may both be tables where you accumulate points by flicking your pinball into all manners of score-granting bits and bobs, but they differ quite a bit in design and set pieces. And that's nothing compared to the more radically different tables available, such as the flipperless Playboy, the timed multi-ball mania of Going Nuts, and the bowling-themed design and rules of Strikes and Spares. Strikes and Spares is a particularly interesting one to mention, as it includes 3 different modes for the table, with each distinct one making you question if you're even playing pinball at this point. Each of the tables are distinct in their theming. Well, there's a slight crossover with Ace High and Playboy's Casino theming, and decorated with amazing artworks to let them shine. With such individual characteristics and mechanics, you're sure to have preferences for certain tables. My favourite tables include the aforementioned Goin' Nuts, the personally relaxing drop target table that is Big Shot, and the racing themed table that I tried out first, Victory! The grandiose score I earned on that table certainly helps. You can tackle each of the tables and even attempt to accomplish their specific table goal in 3 different modes: the Survival Gauntlet Gottlieb Challenge, the Freedom of Choice providing Practice Arcade, and the multiplayer melee that is Play Tournament. Gottlieb Challenge involves you playing through every pinball table aside from Playboy, or at least attempting to do so. Each table is given a minimum score to beat in order to progress onto the next table, and as the name of the mode implies, it is challenging. You only have 3 tries per table, and if you use up all your tries, you have to start all over. Much like how you'll have tables you prefer, you'll also struggle with certain tables, much like I did with the gold-grabbing Eldorado table. Practice Arcade is the best mode for both practicing and attempting each table's goal, allowing you to freely choose whichever pinball table you wish to play. At a cost. Until you unlock them through completing their respective goal, each table requires credits, which can be hard to come by. Aside from doing well at the game, your best means of earning credits are by being lucky at the Love Meter, Zoltan, or the Payout mode, a gambling-themed game mode based around the Playboy table. Then we have Tournament mode, which can be played 1 to 4 players, but is more ideally suited for its competitive multiplayer as you aim to outscore each other. It's very much like the Gottlieb Challenge and even has you take on the tables in the same order, except it lacks the survival aspect. You have to play on all the tables. Tournament serves as a fun multiplayer experience where you compare your skills and scores across all the tables, though with how the scores are rewarded per table, success at certain tables can easily make the competition one-sided.
I had to push buttons that time and it was horrible. I think I beat your high score.
Yeah, you're significantly ahead of me now.
Holy Christ, why? I didn't do anything!
You did so much.
I barely played.
An enter code option is also available in this game, allowing you to gain early access to creditless pinball tables or stuff like custom balls to spice things up with some personal charm. All in all, there is a great plethora of ways to experience this pinball arcade, whose beeps and boops travel from one table to another, playing out not just the individual table music, but those in your distant surroundings. And there is a great plethora of fun experience being offered per table with natural and solid pinball controls. The game even aids you through tables with instructions available on how best to score, some being short and sweet, while others are teed
The
off.
5 rounds
Why is the instruction so big?
are here, and holes 2, 4, and 8 are reached by going up this round. Raining Cats and Dogs multi-ball mode, Slice Target, and the Hook Target. The 4th round is called Find. The gopher is hiding in one of the holes. The final round is called During this round, you can add to the coconut bonus. You complete the round. There are even more ways to score points out there for you to discover. Good luck and have fun.
Why does a pinball table have 52 instructions to it?
I was looking at that and I was very confused. It's like, surely it's just flip the
No.
buttons.
I'm just gonna flip the tabs.
Ending time.
Waggle time is over, and the 2 questions left to answer are as follows. What are my overall thoughts on this game, and who do I recommend this game for? Gottlieb Pinball Classics is an exhilarating yet frustrating game blessed with many positives and minor stacking inconveniences. It has a singular focus on delivering a solid pinball experience and achieves this via fantastic and varied pinball tables and some charming bits of presentation, such as its stellar narration and clear love of this company's rich history. Holding it back are many minor gripes, ranging from the odd glitch, cluttering HUDs, camera angles resetting per new ball, and an inability to alter the order of tables in Gottlieb Challenge and Tournament mode. Overall though, its positives do allow it to be entertaining alone or competitively, and allows for strategic playing in well-timed triggering for flippers and considering camera angle choices. As for who I recommend this game for, well, aside from the obvious suggestions of fans of real-world pinball, high score obtaining enthusiasts with memories of the arcades, and people looking for audience-watching party games, I would recommend this game for folks looking for short bursts of entertainment. Busy gamers who can only spare an hour or so every couple or so days will get all the benefits of this energetic score-mastering game without the negatives of repetition that can occur upon failing and retrying the Gottlieb challenge again and again. Whether you choose to play the wee wonder that is Gottlieb Pinball Classics is up to you, but either way I hope you enjoyed this review and thank you for watching!
And I'm your announcer, Gorio Barbieri.
Thank you for watching. Cheerio!